I can't see. Folks, welcome into Major League Baseball Thursday afternoon right here at sportsbookreview.com. Ready to tip off an action-packed show, a couple games that are currently live now, and of course the rest of the card that we'll hit along the way. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. Kyle Purviance. We are rocking and rolling and ready to go. Those New York Mets runners in scoring position. Jason, what's the deal?
Yeah, having a pitcher bat is the deal. I can't wait till next year when the NL goes to DH. And like being an NL East guy, I actually liked the pitchers hitting until I became a bettor. Now I absolutely hate it as a bettor. So I'm with you guys. Get rid of that pitcher hitting.
No, absolutely get rid of the pitcher hitting, because you just saw right there Taijuan Walker, Browns. At least he made contact, I guess you could say. But if a pitcher makes contact, it's usually weak content. And Kyle, I know you're on an early play in this New York Mets game. Not happy to see there in the bottom of the fourth, bases loaded, 1 out, and no runs once again for those Mets.
And, you know, the universe is unfolding in a beautiful way. The Masters picks are going well. I have all these things. The Mets, bases loaded. And the stupid Major League Baseball doesn't have the DH in the National League this year. That'd be like in the NFL if they're like, you know what? The only way your kicker can kick a field goal is if you let him play wide receiver once in a while. Get the hell out of here with this stupid rule. Get the pitchers out of the batter's box. I'm very upset about it, but I still have some faith. We get the top of the order in the 5th inning. I think we still get that total, and I still like the Mets' first 5. I'm holding out hope. I'm crossing my fingers, holding out hope, and excited to be with you guys. It puts me in a better mood after that double play nonsense with the bases loaded.
Yeah, sitting here in the top of the 5th inning, 1 out, as there was just a fly out to center field. So Taijuan Walker looking pretty good here. If we look at the market for runs in this game, live team totals, the Miami Marlins sit at a 1.5 as a team total, and the New York Mets at 2.5 at a plus 100. I'm going to keep an eye on that because we do have the top of the order coming up for the Mets. And if I'm a gambler and I want to maximize what I want to do, I actually want to see the Mets go down 1, 2, 3 in the 5th and see if I can get that drop to a 1.5
That's not
later in the Major League Baseball game. But that's the way I'm going to look in this game. Any thoughts here live as we take a look and get after this Mets and Marlins game? Minus 1.5, plus 152 on the run line for the Mets, again, who haven't scored. Minus 196 on the money line, according to FanDuel. And an over-under for the game right now at 4.5.
Yeah, the Mets should get some runs across the board eventually. It is the Miami Marlins we're talking about that they're going up against. They've had runners on base throughout the entire game, and it's just a matter of time, and it's going to happen. So I agree with the Mets over 2.5 on the team total. I agree with the over. Obviously, we know the Mets bullpen isn't the greatest either, although Taijuan Walker looks good in the 5th inning, still going. How many pitches does he have? Not changing, 52 pitches. So Walker could be in for a pretty long day. Obviously, first start of the season for him, so probably gets taken out by the 6th or 7th inning. But he's had a great day so far. I like the Mets to end up winning this game as well.
Yeah, not a lot of hits going on there up in Flushing, Queens, as we look at this game, Kyle. Any thoughts on any live numbers that you might be looking at in this Mets game? Still low, and you're getting, obviously, a deduction off of what the opener was. Not to say the Mets haven't had opportunities where it's like, oh, man, Mets can't even get on base. Every inning I look up, the Mets are on base.
Yeah, and that's where I'm still, I'm no coward. I put the bet out there on Twitter. We talked about it here. So if the total for the game's 4.5, I still like the Mets to get there. I still hold out hope, so I would take the over on that. And I'm all on the Mets. Let's see what happens in this 5th inning. They're getting some outs here, so as long as they don't give up any runs here in the top of the 5th, we got some hope. They have been putting runners on base every inning. So I can't go back now. I'm all in. Let's rock and roll, and let's go Mets.
You got it. Masters tournament is underway, guys. And how about the subscribers on the way up? Once again, 84,600 people have hit that subscribe button right here at sportsbookreview.com. Turn those notification bells on. So when we go live each and every day, Monday through Friday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, to talk a little Major League Baseball, you'll get that notification. You can come into the chat box and say hello. Already over 115 people watching just a few minutes into the show. We certainly thank you guys for that as we hit some of these live card games. It's great because I'm watching this game. Really nice weather. I did think they would be able to hit their team total before the game. Didn't make a wager on it officially, but as I said, I'm looking into that live team total here. 2.5 plus 100 does sound nice, but if I can get that a little bit lower, because then you're also starting to deal with maybe an extra innings, and all you need an extra inning, guys, to get there. 1-1 in this game. If you're looking at a live total 4.5, you can almost put that in your back pocket as long as the Marlins score in the top of the 10th inning, which, man on second, nobody out. You're supposed to score in those type of situations, so we'll keep an eye on that. Let's keep moving down here. One of these the Chicago Cubs, huge market team, cutting payroll. They make no sense. And their appearances at the plate this year have made no sense either. So I guess if you don't pay out and improve your team, this is what you end up getting. Arrieta's on the mound and Anderson is on the mound Arrieta for the Cubs, Anderson on the mound for the Pirates. 1-0 Chicago Cubs here in the third inning. Looked at the game very briefly, and when I look at the lineups, because I'm looking for over situations and I'm looking for team totals, these teams are both wretched at the plate. So I just throw it in the trash can, Jason, right away.
Yep.
I like the Cubs in this game. They are up 1-0, but it looks like Pittsburgh is knocking on the door, though, so we'll see what happens. But I like the Cubs here. Anderson went 5 innings against the Cubs already and allowed 3 runs, 5 hits. The weird thing with Anderson, he had 7 strikeouts in that one game. How many strikeouts does he have today? He's already got 4 in 3 innings, so the Cubs are really struggling to hit Anderson a little bit in terms of swinging. So, yeah, that's interesting for sure because Anderson really wasn't a big strikeout pitcher last year. So that's interesting to look at. We'll have to see if Anderson continues to be more of a strikeout pitcher this year. But I still like the Cubs in this one. The Pirates really, their lineup just doesn't excite me at all. And I think the bottom of the order for the Cubs with Marisnick and Duffy, are they even playing today? Marisnick did, not Duffy. But those 2 guys would be interesting guys that could fare well in this game. Obviously, Duffy might come in as a pinch hitter maybe and go up against Anderson, so who knows. But I think the Cubs have the better bats in this game, definitely the better pitcher. I like the Cubs in this one. I still do. If the Cubs go down, you can definitely look at live betting them.
Yeah, live betting some great situations in here, but the one thing we do know, again, it's hard to lean on both of these offenses in this game. They are playing in Pittsburgh. Nice weather, mid-70s, but the wind is blowing in. The one thing we do know about Pittsburgh, it is a pitcher's ballpark, and if you don't have dominating lineups, which obviously the Pittsburgh Pirates don't, and I don't know what the Cubs are doing to start this year, not a great look. But looking at this game overall, Kyle, any in-game thoughts that you might be interested in taking the Chicago Cubs or the Pittsburgh Pirates with today?
Well, as I'm looking at it right now, and I could be a little behind, I hope I'm not, but it looks like they have runners on first and third with Colin Moran at bat. I will say Colin Moran, 5 of 12 lifetime, couple of doubles off of Arrieta, has one of the better splits on the slate in this game. So if you could get in now, and if that's still the current situation, you get some plus money. Yeah. Maybe you have a good hit. You know what? You're looking for some little thing like that. Overall, when I see a Cubs game, I'll probably bet on Cubs games maybe once or twice this year. When I see the Cubs, I go, meh, unless I think they're going to get smoked. Anytime I think they have the advantage, and there you go, Colin Moran strikes out swinging. Yeah. So there you go, just like that. So
their only batter.
Yeah, their only hitter. I'm dead serious about that, too. The only one. Yeah. Polanco has a little bit of an advantage. He's homered 3 times off Arrieta, 10 of 50 lifetime. But no, Cubs games, it's a trash can thing for me almost every single time because I don't trust them. I don't like betting them. I liked them coming into this game, but it was another one where you're just, nah. That's what goes through my mind every time when I see the Cubs on the slate. Almost. And by the way, don't forget to hit the like button, guys. Almost 150 people. We need to hit that like button. I appreciate you guys. Don't make me get flash in here. He will yell at you. Hit that like button. We appreciate you guys being in here watching the show with us.
Yeah, just put the Pirates game on my monitor. About one of these shots that almost left the stadium just foul, almost a 3-run blast by Pittsburgh. I was wondering why the home total runs market crashed and went into a lock. Oh, now I know why. So waiting on that. Mm-hmm. So it feels 1 strike here at the plate. Looks like first and third. And again, we have a live total here of the home team, 2.5, which isn't bad in the third inning at this point. But again, you know what I like? Get out of this inning. Drop that bad boy down even lower and lower and lower as we get late in the game. 1 swing in the back, get extra innings. You can cash in and get a team total with a team in the 6th inning at 1.5. I'll be all over that, specifically if my team is down as well, guaranteeing me a bat in the 9th inning. So 2 games, not all that exciting right now, but certainly some betting opportunities that we can take a look at. And again, thank you guys for joining us here on a Thursday afternoon. Looks like a pop-up here in the outfield, and the Cubs will survive through that inning. So Jake Arrieta makes it out. And now we see the market start to dive. The 2.5s that were minus 125 for the Pirates, now 2.5 plus 102. So you're getting plus money just to score 3 runs. And again, we're not that deep. We're talking about the 4th inning, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. 6 at-bats to get 3 runs, and you'll cash a plus money number on that. Always some good interesting stuff here that we can find out. But guys, let's get into today's card. Let's get some of these previews up, but also in the chat box, having some fun out there. See something going on in these games? Let us know. We'll be watching along with you. If you have any questions on in-game situations, we'll certainly be able to provide you some information there. 9:09, 9:10, Boston and Baltimore. And I know I look at this game and I see Jason's face smile a little bit because one of his childhood heroes is going to make an appearance here. Rodriguez, the lefty on the mound for Boston and for Baltimore in Camden Yards. I don't know if it's a great situational fit here for Matt Harvey, the Dark Knight, but we opened up at a minus 170 offshore at some outlets, dipped down to around that minus 150 range, 9s across the board. Jason, I'll start with you first today. The Boston Red Sox down in Baltimore. What are we looking at here?
We're looking at Eduardo Rodriguez starting his first game since 2019. And if you forget what he did in 2019, he was really, really good. I think he was like 6th in Cy Young Award voting. So there's something there, but then again, it's like he didn't pitch for an entire year. So kind of struggle to want to take him until you see anything with him. Let's be real. He's only going to go 5 innings. Then you get the bullpen, and you never know what happens with the bullpen. So there's that. But Matt Harvey, of course, he's still Harvey of old 2020, 2019 Harvey. Not very good, but looked a little bit better in his first start. Not enough for me to say, yeah, Harvey's back. He allowed 2 runs, 4.2 innings pitched. He did get 7 ground balls and 4 strikeouts, kind of more than we expected out of Harvey early on. So if anything, yeah, I would say the Red Sox minus 0.5 in the first 5 innings, and I do agree with the team total over. And I think this game also goes over the 9. But if you're going to take this game, I would look at the Red Sox only. I would probably try to stay away from relying on Eduardo Rodriguez to perform. So maybe the Red Sox team total over would be the best play. But if you're going to take any play, it's going to be the Red Sox of any sort in this game.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the numbers here versus left-handed pitching. Again, we can only put a database back into last year and some early at-bats this year for Baltimore. But first 4 guys, Mullins, 261 weighted on base average, Mancini, 261, Santander, 254, Mountcastle, 308, Severino, 285, Galvis, 316. So not a murderer's row that we're going to look at. And also keep in mind, the Orioles did play an extra inning ball game, did beat the Yankees yesterday, now coming back down to Baltimore for what I assume is their home opener now. Now, Boston sets up against Matt Harvey very well. Hit right-handed pitching essentially, pretty good last year. And also to start this season, Harvey, it is what it is with him. Back in the day, just one of those dominant pitchers. Hey, he's going to be the future of the Mets. He's going to pitch until he's 40 years old. He's going to be a dominant starter. That sort of fell way off. Now he's trying to rebuild his career. But with what? The fastball's not electric anymore. Sort of getting around, trying to outthink the hitters, which doesn't work for Matt Harvey. To me, it's Boston or nobody. I know they're a heavy favorite in this one. Maybe even look towards a first 5 innings or a team total for Boston. Don't love the game here, Kyle. But I'm not backing Matt Harvey. I'm just not doing it.
No, Matt Harvey is terrible. And look, I'm not making this up here. All 9 projected hitters without Xander Bogaerts in the lineup, mind you, for the Red Sox have an advantage against Matt Harvey. Every single one of them. When you look for Boston, there is, if you're looking like in DraftKings, FanDuel, and you're looking for a one-off, if you want to stack this game, Trey Mancini has excellent splits against Rodriguez. But you look at Rodriguez's last 4 starts, over 45 points in every single one of those matchups. So he dominates this team. I love the matchups the other way for Boston. And Donnie touched on it. The way to get the better number, take that first 5, minus 125. I love that. You get yourself a better number on a juiced up money line. I'll take the Red Sox today.
Yeah, it makes most sense to me in this one. Now, we're looking at a total across the board at 9. Jason, real quick on this game, any thoughts on the full game total worthy of an over? Or are you just saying, I don't trust the Baltimore bats or I don't trust the Boston bats? What are you more likely to do if you were to take a wager on that total here?
So I would more rely on the Red Sox bats and not worry about the Baltimore Orioles. But if you don't get that line, you can't get the team totals. Over 9 would be the next best play. Well, again, Rodriguez will probably pitch 5 innings. You go to that bullpen. The Orioles, can they muster up a couple runs against the bullpen? Yeah, I think so. So, yeah, I agree with the over 9. I think both teams will get some runs in this game. But if you can just look at the Red Sox first, I'd rather you do that. But if you can't team totals, take the over 9 as the next best play.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm looking at here, and also keeping an eye on this Mets game here as they lead off the inning, a 1-2 count. Foul ball there. So still not a lot of line movement here. Still over 2.5 plus 100. We'll see if one of these outs or if a guy gets on base, manipulates that line. We'll keep you in touch on that game. Not a great one there for Boston, Baltimore, but we do go hit every single game on the card. Let's keep moving here. 9-13, 9-14 on the rotation. Kansas City and the Chicago White Sox. Keller versus Lynn. If we take a look at the total, opened up at 9. But how about this? A full run line move to the under. So now we're sitting at an 8 across the board. Favorite as in Lance Lynn opens up at minus 160 at Pinnacle, now sits at minus 166, even as high as 170 to 175 at some other outlets. So a heavy favorite here for the Chicago White Sox as they come home to the Windy City. I'll start with you first once again here, Jason. Kansas City and also the Chicago White Sox. What are we looking at from your angle here?
So everyone's going to look at Keller's first outing. It was miserable. It was terrible. 1.1 innings pitched versus the Rangers, allowed 6 earned runs on 9 hits, 2 walks. So that is 11 base runners in 1.1 innings pitched, the 6 runs, no strikeouts, really concerning outing. But he's a guy that gets a lot of ground balls. He's really good at getting ground balls, 52.6% of ground balls. And guys in the lineup for the White Sox will be Eaton, Vaughn, Madrigal, Abreu. All these guys hit grounders 45% or higher against righties. So obviously I think Keller's going to have a better performance. Can't really do worse than he did in that first game. I think he's going to do well in this performance, get some ground balls. He can definitely get some outs in this game. Don't forget last year he was really good. Limited home runs, didn't get many strikeouts, but again got those ground balls. Was able to be above average with leaving runners on base as well. And then you go to Lance Lynn. The Royals are really good at working walks against righties, but Lynn doesn't really walk too many batters. Just 2.74 walks per 9 innings. So if he's able to throw strikes, he should be able to get through the order a couple times as well. So for me, I would lean towards the under 4.5 in the first 5. And I would agree with the White Sox minus 0.5 in the first 5. I do think the White Sox could probably get a run or two and end up winning the first 5 innings. But I think both pitchers end up pitching well in this one. Under 4.5, first 5 would be my lean in this game. Keller is not going to be nearly as bad as he was in that first start.
You know what's interesting here, too, because when you take a look at last year's statistics, also combined with a start this year, we don't have a lot to go on fresh out of the gate for 2021, Kyle. But I look at Keller, that xFIP around a 5, combining last year and this year. And you say, boy, he's really going to get lit up because he's not a big strikeout guy, and he certainly walks a little bit too batters to be comfortable putting men on base. But then you look at his weighted on base average compared to lefties and righties. Last year and early this year, 143 batters he faced from the left-hand side. From the right-hand side, 86. Check this out. Weighted on base average to lefties, a 297 and an ISO power number of .065. That means lefties weren't doing anything against him. How about from the right side here? 229 weighted on base average and an ISO even less, .037. So it's amazing that you can have an xFIP that hovers around 5, but then looks like you're Cy Young when you take a look at the weighted on base average and ISO numbers here. It's that dichotomy that we have to shift through and say, what actually makes sense? What are you looking at here in this game between Kansas City and Chicago, Kyle?
I'm telling you, this is my first underdog play of the day. I think the Royals are absolutely a live dog today. Look at their projected lineup today. 7 of their 9 batters have an advantage against Lance Lynn. Their lineup as well. 22 of 79 lifetime. A nice little bit of success here. Lance Lynn struggled a little bit. You look at Keller, and listen, I think Keller is a value play again on DraftKings. I know I said that game 1, and he absolutely bombed. But let me tell you right now, his last 5 starts, 3 of those 5 starts, over 45 DraftKings points. He's had some nice success here. The White Sox projected lineup tonight only has a 485 3-year weighted OPS against Keller. I think the Royals are a live underdog tonight, and I actually really like the Royals team total over 3.5. Look, as the books start to catch up with this and all of our team totals, you're not going to see as many 3.5s and 2.5s as you normally do. You're going to see these 4.5s, 5.5s, which are scary as hell. So when I see a 3.5, 7, 8 players in a lineup with an advantage and success, historical success against a pitcher, I'll take a shot there. One of my favorite plus money picks today. I'm going to take the Royals as a live dog today, much like the Oakland A's yesterday. And I think Keller's a decent DFS option. Now, when you're looking at batters, if you're making a lineup, Salvador Perez, I love him, home run shot. I love Salvador Perez tonight. I think he can homer 5 of 13 lifetime, 2 home runs off of Lynn in his career. So I want guys like Dozier, Perez. I want that late Jorge middle of the lineup in DraftKings. You get a really, really good value on both DFS sites. Give me the Royals as my plus money underdog. I think they're a live dog today.
There's some cheap numbers. If you think you're going to win the game, they're probably going to put up some runs here. Just looking at William Hill right now, you can go over 3 at minus 135. And even if you took that up to 3.5, it's only minus 107. So 4 runs wins it there. 3 gets you a push at 135. Not a bad option. If we're taking a look at the home team in this game, the Chicago White Sox, over under a doable number. I always like to look at numbers under 150. I'm not going to tell you, hey, let's take the under. They're not going to score 8 runs for minus 1,000. That doesn't make any sense here. So over 4, minus 129 from William Hill if we're looking at a team total for the Chicago White Sox. An interesting game coming into it because I do like the way Kansas City performs. Not necessarily loving them today from a team total perspective, even though, as I say, that is a really low number. I think there are some better games on the card that we're going to get to in just a little bit. And speaking of better games on the card, let's hit the night card right now. 9:15, 9:16, the Angels and the Blue Jays. Keep in mind, the Blue Jays are not playing in Buffalo. The Blue Jays are not in Toronto. They're still in Dunedin where they play their spring training games, which is a good thing here. Then we start in April. You're going to get 75-degree, 80-degree temperatures there just north of Tampa. Looking at this game, good conditions for hitting today, and that's why we're seeing a 10 all the way across the board. 9:15, 9:16, Canning versus Stripling here. If we look at the over-under, opened up at 10, sitting in that 10 range all the way across, and roughly a coin flip here. Toronto opens up at Pinnacles at minus 112, now sitting at a minus 110. And to be honest with you, I think both of these teams can hit today, Jason.
Yeah, I'm more of a Canning fan compared to Stripling. I don't see it as a pick-em in this game. I actually think Canning is the better pitcher. This will be his first start of the season, but if you go back to his last couple of starts last year, he had 17 strikeouts and 11 innings pitched. He looked pretty good in those 2 starts, got through 5 innings in both, and one of them was 6 innings pitched. I think he's got some solid potential. He could be a 1 to 2 guy rotation player in a lot of rotations if he lived up to the hype that he could be. On the other hand, you have Stripling. He allowed 3 runs, 7 hits in just 3.1 innings, 3.1 innings pitched versus the Yankees. 5 strikeouts, 2 walks, and allowed 8 fly balls to 4 grounders. Now the Angels, you look at their lineup, they got a ton of guys hitting in that middle of the order that absolutely just smoke righties, have high-weighted OBAs. They are big ISO guys, and they hit hard contact in the middle of the lineup. Ohtani, Trout, Rendon, Walsh, they all have hard contact against righties. And again, Stripling, he's a guy, doesn't get many ground balls, a lot of fly balls, a lot of hard contact. And the Angels should be able to smack around Stripling a little bit. Let's not forget, Stripling from last year and this year combined, 2.39 home runs per 9 innings. I expect the Angels, a couple of those guys that I just talked about, I expect at least one of them to score a home run here, maybe get 2, and definitely score above 4.5 runs. So I like them to score over 5. Angels over 4.5 team total, minus 120 via William Hill. That is my official play. And again, I do like the Angels first 5. I am a Canning supporter. I think that he is a much better pitcher than Stripling. So if you're getting a pickup between these 2 pitchers, you definitely like to go Canning here, especially with the Angels' bats having a lot more of an advantage in this game as well.
Yeah, Stripling here, particularly right-handed batters last year, 451 weighted on base average and ISO 282. It basically means every single person that came up to the plate put the ball in the gap or hit a home run off them is what those numbers say. So we're looking from a DFS perspective also here, Kyle. You got 2 righties in the middle of the lineup. Obviously, Rendon and Trout. Last year, 424 weighted on base average versus righties. Rendon, 374. They should be able to do some damage. Again, good weather down in Florida. Wind blowing a little bit in. If it was blowing out, we probably would see some fireworks in this one, but 10 is enough in this one. Which way are you looking here between these 2 teams, the Los Angeles Angels and the Toronto Blue Jays?
Well, I say this is another dog that I really like today. I like the Angels quite. I mean, I know it's a moderate underdog, close to a pick 'em, but you're seeing some plus numbers at some books. So it's a slight underdog here, and I like the Angels. I agree. Jason nailed it right on the head with everything he broke down between Stripling. And you just look at this order. Mike Trout, by the way, 5 of 8 lifetime, 2 home runs off of Stripling. Rendon, I mean, all the way to the bottom of the orders. 7 of the 9 batters tonight have an advantage. 8 of the 9 batters as I'm looking at it. And the only one that they're saying has a little bit of a disadvantage is because Stripling was okay against lefties is Ohtani. So really, you have 9 batters who all should have a nice advantage tonight against Stripling. And I like Griffin Canning better. I completely agree with Jason. I think Canning is live in DFS. Now, the Angels got, Rendon and Trout. If you're looking at a DFS angle, they're very expensive. So that's why, and the chat box makes a great point. We got to keep an eye on the weather in that White Sox Royals game. But if you're looking for a sneaky stack with some value, then you can pay up for some of these higher price guys for the Angels who have real success against Stripling. That's the way to do it, because you're not going to be able to stack all of these Angels, especially Trout and Rendon, who are very, very expensive, and Ohtani, and then fit in a bunch of other studs. So getting to a team that, might be going a little overlooked and are going to be cheaper, like the Royals, if that game indeed goes off, is the way to go here. I like the Angels. I like the over 4.5 team total, and I like them as live slight underdogs today.
There we go. And also keeping an update on some of these live games. We talked about that low, in-game total for the Pirates at 3. They've now cashed in the bottom of the 4th inning, still one out with a man on second base in a 1-1 game. And now the Mets, once again, in the same predicament we talked about just a few moments ago, actually 1 inning ago, now not having their pitcher
with Alonso at bat.
He actually got a real batter coming.
Tom Smith now.
So Dom Smith's up. Exactly. That's exactly the guy.
That's what you want. You want him up.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Dom Smith's up here. So let's take a look here. The numbers are locked, obviously, right now. I'm going to pause here before we get the next game that comes up, because I'm just taking a look at the FanDuel stats once they come up to see if something does make sense, because we were talking about that live 2.5 team total plus 100. Obviously, that's not going to be there when they open the lines back up, or if they even open the lines back up here, if there is a pitching change, which doesn't look like it. Looks like there's just a meeting on the mound right now, but it will be something to keep an eye on here. Let me just see. So nothing is opened up. What would you say would open up? 3.5 probably? I'd say probably say it opens at 3.5 once this comes back out.
Yeah, probably something like that. But just, the chat box earlier was like, man, I'm 0-2 now. The first 5 Mets, it's dead. It's not dead now. We're bases loaded bottom of the 5th. One of these guys gets in. Boom, your bet hits, and there we go. We're off and running, boys. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, I think you're right, Donnie. 3.5 makes a lot
of sense. It opened. It's now it's 3 right now, minus 130, which isn't a bad number, because if Dom Smith even gets a sac fly, it's 1. You still end up having to get the 4 to cash that ticket in.
Yeah.
Interesting numbers that pops up. But this is the good part here. Why don't we sit here? I know Jason's probably got on this TV. Kyle's following along. We'll follow along as well. Let's just have some fun here and follow along with this live at bat right now, because Kyle's got the run line here in the first 5 innings, minus a half. 1 run does it. Obviously, Marlins ain't getting no more bats in the first 5 innings. That's done.
Right.
But I want to see where some of these numbers go. So now I'm looking at the FanDuel live odds up to 3.5, like we thought it would be now, plus 104, just with 1 ball. So on a 0-0 count, now it's 1-0. It's actually, the odds are actually improving here. So we'll see what happens. Dom Smith up versus Detweiler here. Lefty versus a righty, lefty on lefty. 2-0 count. So now it's going to move up. Let you know
this. Here we go.
As we focus up. And also keep in mind the run line for the game now. If the base hit, you will get the 2 runs. Minus 1.5 is minus 148. And how about this right now? The game line, it's tied. Minus 480 for the Mets. So just loading it up with 1 out, you see what that does to the live game odds that we talked about here. Let's just see what happens here as we come in 2-0 count. Detweiler delivers, strike right over the plate. So now we got a 2-1 count. And it also looks like the Pirates cash in once again to go up 2-1. So if you were smart enough, unlike me here, as I'm doing the show, did not take the over 3. That upsets me right now. So now I'm losing money, but I'm having fun. I don't know if that equates here at that point. So we'll keep in mind. Let's keep it with this Mets game and see what happens. 2-1 count here. And here we go. Stat and delivered. Oh, he crushed it.
Yes.
He crushed it.
That is deep center
field. Is it
field.
going to get caught, though?
Yeah.
Oh, what a catch. But that's going to score the
we got to run.
There we go. And there's the first 5. And that's good. That's good for the team total. We get that 1. So we're on our way.
Man, by the way, we talked about the juice. Last year's baseball, 4-0 Mets right now. This year's baseball, 1-0 Mets. Man. All right, let's see what some of these lines open up. So now we have the over 3 is now juiced to minus 128. So not a lot of line movement on that one. We'll see if they can get out of this inning, but that's a nice at bat by Dom Smith. You hit a ball 407 feet. You needed 2 more feet to get it out of the ballpark. That's just what happens here. So let's keep moving here. But this is the fun part about doing a live show in the afternoon. Bets are in play. Games are on. We can talk about the line movements here, have some fun and cash it in. Hey, Jason's a Mets fan. Love that. Kyle's got dollars. Love that. I still think this game has a sneaky chance to get over the total, which now we see a live number in this Mets game of 5 for the game. We'll see what happens here as it moves on. But let's get to the next game here, the final night game, 9:17, 9:18, and 8:10 first pitch, Oakland and Houston down in Houston. Irvin, the lefty, is going to be on the mound. I've seen enough of him in Philadelphia to know he's straight trash. And Javier is going to be on the mound for the Houston Astros. Opened up as a minus 157 at Pinnacle offshore. Now looking at a 150 in that range, 155 depending on where you're shopping at. 9.5 up till 10. I'll let you go first in this game, Jason. Oakland and the Houston Astros today.
Yeah, like you said, Cole Irvin, a lefty pitcher who gets absolutely rocked. Um, yeah, he has plenty of hard contact, doesn't get many swing strikes, high Sierra as well. The top of the lineup should absolutely destroy the lefty. Altuve, Brantley, Bregman, they all got fantastic numbers versus lefties and should do really well. Uh, Javier, this is a guy we always talk about. He's hard to kind of figure out sometimes. Strikeout numbers are high, walks are low, but then his FIP is 4.75 because he doesn't get any ground balls, and then he's able to leave 83% of runners on base, which is just an absurd number, and probably no way he can sustain that either. So be a little bit careful with taking the Astros. Javier, there's like, if you look at the numbers, there's reason to believe that he can maybe blow up. There's other numbers where you're like, all right, well, he's going to be fine and do fine. So I'd rather you look at the Astros over 4.5 on their team total. I got it at minus 140. I know some books now have over 5.5 with like plus 115. I'd rather you get the over 4.5 and not get that 5.5 with plus money. But, I mean, if you look at the Astros and they're hitting so far, they've been scoring plenty of runs. I would project them to score, anywhere from 6 to 9 in this game. I think that's a pretty reasonable number for this lineup. They don't need cans right now. They're playing really well. Good. They're playing great baseball, hitting the ball really well, and should definitely see some success against Irvin.
Mets, VR strikes out, so 1-0 Mets at the end of 5 innings. But, hey, 1 is all you needed here for Kyle's ticket, and it catches in. We'll see if it flows. So now we look at the live team total for the Mets, which was as high as 3.5, now dips down to that 2.5 number. And also the live over-under in this game, which was as high as 6, now back down to 4.5. We'll keep an eye on that as it goes. So we're going to talk a little Houston Astros baseball here versus the Oakland Athletics, who had a disastrous start to the season. Thank goodness they actually pulled a win over the Dodgers as another head back down to a team that dominated them to start the season. The Astros bats have been hot, so maybe we joke about the Apple Watches and the kicking the trash cans and beating on the drums are all back for the Astros. But here's the interesting part about this game. And when I talk about throughout the season, trying to check on weather conditions, because it really matters in a warning track fly ball or a ball that reaches into the first row. When you look at the Houston Astros, one of those maddening franchises for me, not because of what they do on the field. They spend all this money in Houston on a retractable roof, which probably costs an extra $300 million to put on Minute Maid Park. It's never open. It makes 0 sense. And I don't want anybody from Houston telling me, hey, Donnie, you ever sit at night in 86-degree temperature? It's baseball. It's meant to be played outside. Now we have the COVID crisis kicking in, right? You have 50% capacity. Read through, it looks like the roof is going to be open tonight. There are no weather conditions to worry about. 82 degrees, no rain in the forecast whatsoever. That's a big deal, because if that roof is closed and the air conditioning is on, there's no humidity to heat that ballpark, and the ball does not jump off the bats. If that roof is open down in Houston, which it's supposed to be tonight, don't look at the weather conditions where it says, oh, it's blowing out the left. It's a dome. So just the roof is going to get cut off. But the fact that that ballpark will heat up is what you want to look at. There's no guarantee it's going to be open tonight, because when you read between the lines with the Houston Astros, they specifically tell you coming into the season, we take the air outside and use it for our air conditioning so we don't recirculate it inside, which is code for we never want to open this damn roof, so leave us alone, even though it's COVID. So that's what I'm looking for. But I'm jumping right now to say I anticipate with half a stadium that will be open. That's a major advantage. So the play I'm looking at in this game, obviously, is the team total for the Houston Astros. I'll get into it a little bit later, but Kyle, talk to me on this game, what you're looking at.
Yeah, I like the Astros a lot, and I like the first 5. You're getting a good number. I'm looking at minus 110 first 5 because, again, you guys touched on it. Cole Irvin might be the worst starting pitcher in the league. I mean, he is absolutely dreadful. And then you look at the Bregmans and the Altuves. I think Houston gets it done early. Neither one of these guys are big, they don't eat up a lot of innings, so they probably are only going to pitch, 3, 4, 5 innings at the most. So I'm doing the first 5 because I really don't want to deal with the bullpens and the end of the game. I wanted to get on the Astros team total, but now it is sitting at 5.5 everywhere I look at even money. So that's usually a little too rich for my blood. You've really got to believe to take those 5.5 team totals, to take those overs. But this game certainly does have over written all over it. I do like some of the hitters for Oakland. Chapman, I don't mind tonight against the righty. He's got some upside there as well. So I do think there's some runs scored in this game. Want nothing to do with either pitcher in terms of DFS, but I love the top of the order for Houston. And if you're looking for some guys here for Oakland, like a real value guy who's got some nice splits against right-handed pitching. Not huge upside, but he's sitting here at minimum salary. A guy like Tony Kemp at the bottom of that A's order, if you're looking for a one-off to save some money here, he has a nice advantage against right-handed pitching. That's a way I would go. But for me, first 5 Astros minus 110 seems like the bet in this game.
Yeah, if you're looking just from a side perspective here, it's not a great lineup here for Oakland. Cano, 321 weighted on base average. Lowry, 182. In the bottom of the lineup anticipated between Brown, Andrews, and Tom, 173, 233, and 0 as a weighted on base average last year versus right-handed pitching. But again, I'm looking at it from the Astros coming out hot this year, and I can't wait. Like, we're talking about numbers here. I'm trying to project. I'm like a pilot right now, if you can imagine, flying without a radar. Once we get into May and I can start talking all 2021 statistics, this is really going to be a lot of fun to hit. And I joked about it. I'm having a good season to open up on team totals, but there is a lot of conjecture here. We're like, ooh, I think this will happen. Once we get the numbers in, we're going to be able to paint by numbers all the way through and say, here's what we're looking at tonight, bang, bang, bang. So at least we're making some money in the month of April as we're all doing well in the show, which is a design. But you like to hear our thought process about what we like. Once we start getting some legitimate statistics in where these pitchers have, 30, 40, 50, 60 innings in, this show is really going to take off and have a lot of fun. But I appreciate you guys coming in the chat box, supporting us each and every day. Almost 300 people currently watching now on a Thursday. Let's keep it moving here. But again, keep your eyes on that Oakland-Houston game as we come back through those best bets in just a little bit here. Let's hit the rest of the card in Major League Baseball and have some fun. Arizona and Colorado, 9:05, 9:06. That's getting underway relatively quickly in the next 5 minutes. So let's see if we can give the people what they want. If any one of you guys has a play, over-under opened up at 12, now down to 11. Roughly a coin flip again. Gray on the mound, minus 114, opened up at Pinnacle. That now sits minus 121. Jason, your thoughts on this game between Arizona and Colorado?
So Gray had 7 strikeouts versus the Dodgers in his last start. 5 innings pitched, just allowed 4 hits and a run with those 7 strikeouts. So is this a new Gray, or are we going to get the old Gray from the other years? So I'd be careful with this one. I'm not sure which Gray we get. Obviously, the Diamondbacks offense has looked really bad. Marte just got hurt. Probably don't expect too many extra base hits out of Arizona. So while I like the over, and I think that both these pitchers are really bad, I saw in William Hill, I thought over 4.5 team total at minus 165. I know a little bit high juice there. I'm not taking it, but I do recommend it. The Rockies should be able to get 5 runs. I agree with 6 runs as well if you want to go that route, but I would just look at the Rockies over on their team total instead of worrying about the Diamondbacks, because the Diamondbacks offense is miserable right now.
It is miserable. And this is the interesting part, because the Diamondbacks can throw so many lefties at you, which is exactly how you want to profile going against a right-handed pitcher who struggled against lefties last year. Kyle, as I look at this lineup, there's not a lot to love, because as I'm looking at the D-backs, Castro leads off. He's got a 440 weighted on base average in 35 at-bats against right-handed pitching based on last year's stats and also coming into this year. Nobody else is basically above average. Not a single batter. But then you look at the lefties, Van Meter, Peralta, Smith, Escobar, Vogt, Perdomo, and I look at John Gray's numbers. Look at this, 104 batters from the left-hand side he's faced, a 330 weighted on base average, which isn't bad. Look at the ISO at 242. So if you're a lefty, you should be able to hit, but these lefties can't hit.
Yeah, and David Peralta historically, actually this entire projected lineup for Arizona lifetime off of Gray is 27 of 66, a 409 average off this team in 2 of his last 5 starts against Arizona. Negative numbers. That means he got knocked out in the first or second inning and got absolutely smashed. So when I look at all the numbers, what's happened over the last 3 seasons, my body says, oh, we got to take the Diamondbacks here, another plus money spot. Take the Diamondbacks. But man, the way they're hitting the ball right now. So it could be, this game feels like a trap. This could be the first game where Arizona finally, gets it together. Peralta, 14 of 28 lifetime off of Gray. Vogt, you mentioned it. Even Christian Walker, 6 of 12 lifetime. So there's a lot of good history for Arizona. This game scares the crap out of me. If I was going to bet it, it would be an underdog or pass, a classic dog or pass spot for me, because I don't trust Colorado. I don't trust Gray. But I don't trust Arizona, so it's a pass game for me. If I was going to bet it, it's a dog or pass for me. I'll just take some value and hope for the best. But really, I'm just staying away from this game.
No, I hear you. I'm just trying to get an update here real quick because for some reason FanDuel likes to log me out every 30 seconds. You have a 1-1 game now here between Miami and the New York Mets, and I'm trying to get in, and I just got in. My wager was accepted here. I took the over 2.5 for the Miami Marlins. Now, it's 1-1 here in the top of the 6th inning. So they need 3 runs theoretically, but here's my thought process behind this. You have a man on second, so you might be able to cash that ticket and get at least one more run in, which still leaves you, yes, you have to get one more run to cash it in. But the theory behind this is if the Marlins take a 2-1 lead, the Mets are going to get into the Marlins bullpen. There's no reason to believe that they can't at least get a 2-2. Then you're setting up a worst-case scenario heading into extra innings with a man on second base to start the 10th. You should be able to get at least one run across the plate in extra innings. That's how I'm going to play it out. So I'm going to go over 2.5 right now on the Miami Marlins as they bat here in the top of the 6th inning. Let's keep moving down the list. 907, 908, Milwaukee and St. Louis. Burns versus Wainwright. How about this? Burns moving on the number. -130, they open up at Pinnacle as a favorite towards the Brewers. Now up to -143. 8 opens up. 7.5s across the board. Your thoughts here between Milwaukee and the St. Louis Cardinals here, Jason?
Yeah, I think we're not going to see many runs early on. Burns was fabulous in his first start. Wainwright, not so much. But again, we're talking about some poor offenses. The Brewers are another poor offense that you would expect them to be better than they are. Also, I mean, the Cardinals probably too. Both of these offenses on paper look a lot better than they are. When you have like the Cardinals have Goldschmidt and Arenado in their lineup, and the Brewers have Yelich and like Lorenzo Cain in their lineup. Both these offenses aren't really that terrific. Burns, really high strikeout rate. He's been terrific. Limits home runs, really good with runners in scoring position, with runners on base. Gets ground balls nearly 50% of the time. And let's not forget, last year he was terrific. He had like a 2 ERA and a 2 FIP. So I like Burns in this spot. I would look at the Brewers in the first 5, hoping that they can score a run. But I wouldn't take anything -0.5. Get that push if it's 0-0 or 1-1, if it just happens that way. But I do think the Brewers have a better chance of scoring against Wainwright than the Cardinals have against scoring against Corbin Burns.
I hear you on that. And just taking a look, but both of these teams, again, starting out the season, haven't fit my eye all that well. Because I look at I can't, like, can Milwaukee go on like a 3-week tear just to get all these atrocious weighted on base averages off of my radar? What are you looking at, Kyle, in this game between Milwaukee and St. Louis?
Well, you know I'm a man of the people. And what do the people always want? They want these NRFIs, this thing that I just finally learned. So if I was picking one game where I'm going to say no runs in the first inning, I think this is the game here. I like that quite a bit. This is another game. We got to keep an eye on the weather on this one. You could get a delayed start and it starts later. So this could be a game too where it's iffy to take team totals and overs because this could be called after 5, 6, 7 innings with the way that. Now I'm only the deputy weatherman on the show. I am not the sheriff of the weather. I don't see much precipitation.
Yeah, I don't see much of an issue in this game for you. So
I'm just reading a couple of things that I'm seeing here, possible late start. But I'm just the deputy. I'm not the sheriff of the weather. So I want to predicate on all that. So those always make me a little nervous. But for this one, I do have a little bit of interest in some one-offs in DFS. Paul DeJong has a really nice history against Burns. He's homered off him in 11 at-bats, 4 of 11 lifetime. When you just look at how the thing's split up, you'll say, okay, this should be St. Louis. But it's always this one's another 50-50, sort of a dog or pass type thing. So the only bet I'm willing to make on this one, no runs first inning. I think that's the way to go. I don't mind the first 5 with Milwaukee too, and just hoping they score. But again, 2 bad offenses, so I think we feel pretty safe with the Nerfy in the first inning.
Yeah, chilly out there, but wind is blowing out to center field about 12, 13 miles an hour. We'll see how it plays into it. And that game's going to start 4:15 Eastern, so about another hour to watch that one come in. Last game we'll talk about today before we get to some best bets, clear the bases, and have some fun here. Thank you guys for joining us once again on the show. 9-11, 9-12, Seattle and Minnesota. It's going to be Gonzalez, the lefty on the mound, Marco Gonzalez, and one of the bane of my existence, the slow curveball that he tried. The Jamie Moyers of the world, if I'm showing my age right now, 78, 81 on the outside corner. If he doesn't get the calls from the umpire, he could be in some trouble tonight. Minnesota counters with Barrios on the mound. 175 turns into a 207 as a favorite here for the Minnesota Twins offshore at Pinnacle, getting as high as 230 at some of the outlets I'm seeing now. Over under at 8. Start with you here first on this one, Jason. Taking a look here at Seattle and Minnesota.
Yeah, so Marco Gonzalez obviously did not have the best of starts in that first game against the Giants, but let's not forget the Giants. We touched on this yesterday. The Giants are fantastic against lefties, And that's why Marco Gonzalez struggled a little bit in that game. The Twins lineup, they're really serious. They're really good too, but they're not nearly as good against lefties compared to the Giants. I do expect Marco to limit walks like he did all last year. He's averaging 1.19 walks per nine when you compare this year and last year. So I think he'll do a lot better, throw some strikes, so limit damage. And of course, Berrios was unhittable in that first start. And he looks really good. I don't think the Mariners could really touch him either. So I like the Mariners, I like the Twins to be able to get the job done here. I also think under 4.5 in the first five would be a solid play. I think Marco Gonzalez definitely shuts it down a lot more than he did previously. And Berrios, I think he'll be unhittable again. Again, the Mariners offense, not really great on paper, not really great, at all in the first place. So I think there's a lot of value with the under 4.5 in the first five. And I think the Twins, of course, end up winning the game when it's all said and done.
If I'm looking at an under in this game, which I am if I were a betting under man, because it does make a lot of sense here. And as we say that, another Marlins run 2-1 now. So that is big for the 2.5. One more run here for the Marlins over the next 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. That'll cash that ticket for the over the 2.5. It was actually nice because they had the man on second with nobody out. Got 2 outs, moved him over the third, but you got a 2-out base hit here. So that's fantastic. So we're on our way, hopefully, to cashing one of those tickets as well. But Kyle, looking at this game, I look at Minnesota, and I don't like Marco Gonzalez. But the Minnesota team cannot hit lefties. I mean, dismal numbers with the lineup they're looking to put out today. Now, could they be contrarian? Could they finally hit somebody from the left-handed side? We'll see. But how are you playing this game out here?
I actually like the Twins first five here. That's one of the bets I took today. A couple of hitters that I do like. You're absolutely right. They struggle against these lefties, but one of my favorite least favorite left-handed pitchers in the entire league is Marco Gonzalez. I absolutely cannot stand this guy, and I love stacking against him, especially with righties. I think Nelson Cruz is live for a home run prop today. I don't mind Polanco at the top of that order as well. I would lean the under in this game. I do like the Twins first five. Another game with not great weather, right? Again, I'm just a deputy. Not great weather in this game, it looks like. But I am leaning the Twins first five. I like that number. And I actually don't mind Twins first five full-time as well. And I kind of agree with Jason. The first five under makes a lot of sense here. There's a lot of unders that I feel in this game, but I like the Twins. I like them first five. And guys, over 300 people watching, not even 100 thumbs up yet. Hit the damn thumbs up button. It's ridiculous that we don't have 100 thumbs up right now. Hit that for us. I appreciate that. Give me Twins first five.
There you go. Twins first five. So let's move on. And one of the sections that most people in this chat box wait for, they say, boy, I'll put up with Kyle's voice. I'll put up with Donnie's face and Jason in the middle with his glasses. But I'm here for some winners, and we're going to give them out. So I'm going to go last on this one, Jason. I'll start with you first. Your best bets and bankers. What are you looking at from your perspective today? Because yesterday I came to you, and I was very surprised. But I know we're getting some action today. Go ahead.
Yeah, you guys killed me in the chat. I apologize. But I do want to profit. That's the name of the game. And that's what we're trying to teach you guys. We want you to win and not give out all the bets on the entire slate and then end up losing. That's not my goal, not my mission. But I do have some bets to give out today. I like the Angels over 4.5 on the team total at -120. And I also like the Astros over 4.5 team total at -140. Now, if you see that game at 5.5, do I think they'll score 6 runs or more? Yes. Would I rather you get that 4.5 number? Of course. So maybe 0.5 units if you see that 5.5 and you don't want to risk it as much. Maybe just put 0.5 units on it. But those are my 2 bets that I got going on, and I'm excited for them.
Kyle, best bets and bankers. What you got, boss?
I'm going to take the Red Sox first five. I love that number. And I also like the Astros first five at -110. I think that makes a lot of sense, too. And if you're looking for an underdog, my favorite underdog today, love them Royals. I think they get it done. I'll take that plus money on the Royals. Don't mind the Angels as well.
All right, I'm going with it, and we pretty much have a consensus here on one game, and that's the Houston Astros, which is where I'm going for my team total and also my best bet and banker of the day. Hopefully, can keep the streak going and keep it alive. And I said a lot about what I liked about the game before. This is coming from doing a little bit of research this morning. The roof should be open. If it is, that is going to be a plus. If it's closed, we don't lose the bet if it's closed. So I don't want anybody to get that misconception. No, the roof's closed. What are you going to? No, we're still going in on this game regardless. But it's a plus if the roof is open. When we're looking looking at Cole Irvin, who is a lefty, and he is one of the weakest lefties you can have. He's not a strikeout pitcher. 13.6% of the batters he faced last year, he was able to strike out. That's ridiculous. You want that at least around that 20% range. He's not walking a lot of guys, so that means that the ball is being put in play. In xFIP from last season at 5.67. Keep in mind, having an xFIP around like 4.5 is disastrous. He's almost getting close to 6. Now, what I'm liking about this as well, if we have a a non-strikeout pitcher, you also want to look to see what the lineup he's going against is going to do. Well, check this out versus left-handed pitching. Even when the Astros struggled so much last year to do anything right, the number one thing they didn't do was strike out against lefties. Look at the lineup today. Altuve, 13%. Brantley, 16%. Bregman, 12%. Tucker, 13.5%. Alvarez, 15%. Gurriel, 6%. What does that mean? The ball is going to be in play. If the roof is open, the ball should travel. The only downfall in this game is we all think the Astros are going to win. So we might be cut short of getting our full 27 outs and only 8 full innings. I still don't think that's going to matter at all in this game because when it breaks down and you look at the overall, look at lefties, limited lefties that Irving faced, who he is a lefty. That's your job in baseball. Lefties get lefties out. A 653 weighted on base average versus left-handed batters. And you say, boy, he must be really good against righties. 407. So if the Astros score 3 runs, then they end up scoring just 3 runs. A guy that doesn't strike anybody out against a hot-hitting team, I'm going above it. And I got it at William Hill this morning. Team total over 4.5, minus 140. It's currently at minus 145. I do think they at least get to 5 runs. I don't recommend taking the 5.5 because then, hey, we need 7 and 8 runs. Can they get there? Don't get me wrong. They can. But I see the Astros scoring some runs tonight. It just makes sense to take them, even though they are the home team. That is my best bet in banker. We're going to be off and rolling. All three of our plays today going to be off and running and having some fun. Now, why don't we clear the bases? Look at that. 50 minutes into the show. We're through everything. We went live to the Mets for a while. We did everything here today, guys. Kyle, look at that. Hey, guys, why do you start so late? So we can get that in-game live look. That's what we're here.
Exactly, and win a little money live and save some face. I absolutely love it. Just that prop, getting that bottom of the 5th, and then 1 inning later, Miami scores. That's why those first 5s are so much fun. And, you're avoiding all the bullpen collapses, everything else. And it looks like our Boston bet's looking pretty good right now. They're laying the wood down on Matt Harvey, which is not surprising in any way, shape, or form. So that one looks like it's going pretty well, too. It's going to be another good day, folks. Another good day.
No, it isn't. Looking around the wrap-up here as we get it, the Mets are up 1 out in the bottom of the 6th inning, 2-1. I really want the Mets to score a run because I get the extra innings. I'm probably going to cash that 2.5 ticket since I'm going to get a first look, obviously, in the top of the 10th inning with a man on second base. But it'll take solo home run, double in the gap, 1 swing of the bat. I just need 1 more out of the Mets here. Anybody have any questions here in the chat box? We can certainly do it. I answered the question. Somebody asked what time the Astros game is. 8:10 Eastern is the first pitch. A lot of people in that chat box rolling with us on the Astros in some way, shape, or form. So a lot of good stuff here, but this is fun. This is exactly what we do. Another showdown on a Thursday. Tomorrow we kick off Friday, heading into the weekend, Jason. Good stuff here. It's fun. It goes quick. And if you could see the passion that we go through it, there's not much prep work that goes into it when you actually really like what you're doing. I never wake up and say, oh, man, I got to get on with, what's Kyle going to say today? What's Jason going to do? Am I just going to zone out and not want to be here? I love this stuff, and I hope you guys can tell that we all enjoy it as well. But I would like to see a Marlins victory today, Jason. How do you feel about that?
Ouch. Yeah, wouldn't feel good about that. But right now, this Mets offense is really struggling. They'll get going. They'll figure it out. And having fans in the stands, the first game at Citi Field in quite some time, I think that they'll rally and score some runs as well late. So definitely, if you're looking at a live bet, I agree with the Mets here. I think they'll be able to score some runs late in the game, rally around the fans, and finally end up winning it. So
there you go. So we'll cut out here short. Any last words, Kyle, that you want to get out to the good people out here?
Well, I'll answer one question I saw earlier. They wanted to know how the acupuncture date went. It went fantastic, and I'm on a full healing schedule now. I have to drink this powder, this whole thing. The elbow's feeling good today. We're going to be good this weekend in the golf tournament, and it was absolutely I recommend everyone get themselves a beautiful acupuncturist / healer and just let her heal you up because I feel fantastic.
Yeah, it sounds like Rusty Horton's going to represent Kyle, and
That's
like
correct.
he does Deshaun Watson in just a few weeks here. We have all the lawsuits coming to SBR. How could you have this guy? All these sponsors are going to pull off the show because Kyle's going to have 25 different masseuses coming after him. But that'll be the show today for Thursday. A perfect way to end it. Good stuff all the way across. Hopefully we get some good news on our Bankers and Best Bets. But you know what? If we get good news, fantastic. If we don't, we'll be right back plugging on a Friday afternoon, 2:30. Come join us as well. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz for Kyle Purviance. We are sportsbookreview.com, and this was your Thursday Major League Baseball show. Good luck on your wagers.